Well, provincial power players are manoeuvring hard and fast ahead of the ANC's crucial December elective conference. To chat some more on the political ructions we're seeing unfold on the path toward December, we have in our Pretoria studios political analyst, that's Professor Lesiba Teffo. Good afternoon, Prof, and thank you for your time on the SABC News Desk.
Good afternoon.
Prof, party conferences like these always tend to expose internal rifts, but how has the factionalism we've been seeing and the recent cabinet reshuffle heightened these divisions?
Well, the divisions have been there, no dispute about that, and incidentally, they themselves are telling us about them, something that they denied yesterday. But given that, I think the wedge is just widening. And every day and any time and any moment they engage, they've reached a point where they distrust one another to such an extent that one would not hope that they would easily find each other. In your clip right now, I see Ndade Mahumapelo speaking, and then I'm saying to myself, now, which Mahumapelo is speaking here? Because everybody knows it's for Nkosazana Zuma. Everybody knows it's almost paying obsequious obedience to the head of state. And indeed, the question is, to what extent can whatever they are doing try to mend and wedge and weld them together? I'm very doubtful. They are cynical, they are skeptical, they are suspicious of each other and one another.
Prof, we also heard in the clip that played out that ANC-NEC member Bheki Cele saying the party's NEC is to blame for that ANC court case in KwaZulu-Natal. Judgment has been reserved for now. He says the decision-making body made the wrong decision by allowing that elective conference in 2015 to go ahead. What do you make of that at this stage, Prof?
Well, it is correct. But look, there was a time when there were issues with the branches, and Nkosazana Zuma was requested to make an investigation and report. That report is gathering dust. Those who were illegally and illicitly elected are still in office. We had a similar situation in the Free State. There will always be devious means to try to replicate and perpetuate the same people under the cloaks of legality, or at least the constitution of the ruling party. Now, what Kele is saying, I understand, I sympathize with him, but if they had acted and the Constitutional Court gave them at least a leeway to act when the head of state was said to have violated his oath of office, probably the challenges they are contending with right now would not be there. The damage the ANC brand suffered would have been minimal. And indeed, the longer he's kept in office, the more likely they will have these artificial engagements and discussions that are not bound to yield anything. Because all of them, as they engage, they are suspicious of one another. They are trying to convince one another to be aligned without being aligned.
Prof, KZN is the ANC's biggest province in the country, and any prospective president wants to get this province behind him or her. Speak to us of the political implications the legal outcome of this particular case will have in the run-up to this crucial conference in December.
Look, the outcome, those who are close to this matter say it might favor Senzo Mcunu's faction, which will have serious implications to the legitimacy of those in office. But I know for now and for a fact that there could still be another means devised to ensure that same come through, because the court can only pronounce on procedure and process. But if they come up again with a mechanism to bring same in, you would need another 6 to 12 months. I think what is likely to happen is that, yes, it might favor Senzo's group, but there will be an appeal, and that appeal is going to impact on the outcome of the elections in December, because it's very unlikely that it might be held before the end of June.
Right.
I mean, before the end of December or before the conference. But there is a political point here that needs to be made, and that is you speak about a united KwaZulu-Natal at least front. That is no longer the case, madam. Yesterday, it was a united front. And everybody wanted to ensure that they were in his or her pocket. It doesn't matter what happens right now. There is very little that can be done to unite that province. And it perhaps is to the advantage of another faction that is relatively weak as of now, that they sustain that division, although pretending otherwise.
Prof, speaking of prospective presidents, what do you make of NEC member and presidential hopeful Lindiwe Sisulu's bid? She's come out today saying that good leaders are being denied the opportunity to lead the ANC due to vote buying and factionalism within the party.
Look, I've got great respect for her.
Tell me.
Is one of those you can put on the table and say, let's unpack her and let's, in quotes, put her naked in front of the people of South Africa. Very few will find dirt on her body or on her hands. She has very strong political credentials of her own, let alone that she comes from political royalty. I think she has proven herself when it comes to the assignments she was given as a minister in various portfolios. I think she's a worthy material.
Yes.
But the problem I have is that when many people spoke against the rot that was setting in, including the analysts like myself, right? They never opened up their mouths. The Madlala Rodlech, Paulo Jordan, and many more that have gone into the political wilderness. At the time, they should have joined hands with them to ensure that the party doesn't find itself in the morass it is in right now. So some may say it smacks of political opportunism. But fine, my maxim is it is never too late to do the right thing.
Yes,
if she has been to Damascus,
yes,
and she wants to help band the party together, let her be given an opportunity.
Prof, very quickly, I want to talk about this frequent allegation, constant allegations that those in the corridors of power who line their pockets with public money with no regard for people whose lives they're tasked with uplifting. And although we know corruption is not uniquely a South African or an ANC problem specifically, it is a societal ill. How difficult is it going to be for the African National Congress, which you just mentioned is a strong brand, more than 100 years old, to win back the trust and love of its once ardent supporters?
Well, the history of the liberation struggle, of which I'm fairly familiar, says once a a liberation movement reaches this stage, it's almost impossible for it to redeem itself. Either beyond 20 years, it remains in office by hook or by crook. I've said it, I can repeat myself. I can't see the ANC at this juncture redeeming itself from itself. They will need to take a bar out of the political space, go and cleanse themselves for 5 to 10 years and come back. But as things stand, it's a bit too late for me. Yes, 2019, they might win, but with a very, very reduced margin. But those who are sangomas might seem to be saying to me, it is possible that we may have a coalition government, which effectively says they might be at the back as backbenchers in a different dispensation in the next 24 or 28 months.
Thank you, Professor. We are out of time. That was Professor Lesiba Teffo joining us from our Pretoria studios.